What's up guys, welcome to another video. This video will be more like a tutorial guide on how you can become a great master on guild trading. I'm going to show you all my tips that have been developed over 8 years, all my strategies, and I will start by the most simple ones to the more advanced ones. You have the timestamp, you can jump around if you want, and without further ado, let's go to the video. So let's begin with the most simple question. What is a guild trader? Guild trader is traders where you can sell your items to other players, like this guy over here. And you have these guild traders over the entire map, in cities and villages. Of course, some cities are better than others to sell and to buy stuff, but the most important thing for you to have a guild trader, you need to have a guild that has a guild trader. So we are always dependent on guilds. So, and the first thing you have to do is to find a guild trader in one of these 3 cities that I'm going to give you. The 3 cities I recommend, and I recommend these cities because they are the most crowded ones. That means there are more people checking the guild traders, buying and sell stuff. So I would recommend Vivek is one of them, Moonhold, or Eldenroot. So I always recommend for you guys to try to have 2 of these cities at least. So you need to join 2 guilds at least with different guild traders in one of these 3 cities. That way you will have a guild trader, for example, in Vivek, another one in Moonhold. Why I give this advice? Because when you have a guild trader, you can only sell 30 items at a time. So you can put 30 items in Moonhold and 30 items in Vivek. So the next step you may ask is how I find a guild. It's quite simple. You just go to options, you go to social, and then you go to guilds, and then finding a guild. The only thing you have to do is to go to find a trading guild. And then you can see here all the guilds, and you will see, for example, this one is in Moonhold, and you make an application and you wait. Normally they accept you in less than 24 hours, and you do this for this city and the other ones. Just a quick tip here, I always advise to have 2 major cities. This means Eldenroot or Vivek. And then I always advise to have a city that is not so crowded, because the prices there could be different. And sometimes it's good to sell different items there. So for example, if you want to have a guild trader, for example, and Riften is not bad, because you could have different prices there. So try to at least have, if you really want to go into guild trading, you should have at least 3 cities, or this means 3 guild traders. So guys, just one more thing, pay attention to the information of the guild that you are applying, because some of them will ask you for a fee for you to use the guild trader, but normally they don't pass 10k weekly fee, like in this case, just for you to be aware. So guys, before we dive into selling items, I just want to give you another tip that's quite important, will help you a lot. We already know that right now we have add-ons in all platforms, so you should have a price tracker. And what is a price tracker is very simple. For example, if I go to my inventory, I will see, for example, the prices on stuff. For example, here you can see the average, you can see the range where people are saying stuff, and this will appear for the majority of the items. But this is important just for you to have an understanding the prices, because you will always need to check all the traders I'm going to explain later, but this will help you to have an idea if the item is even good to sell or not. And how can you install the add-ons? It's quite simple. You just go to options and you go to add-ons. For example, now I'm going to manage my add-ons just to show you, and I'm using this price tracker. So you just go there, you make a research, and you will find a price tracker for you. So guys, now we already know which are the best cities to sell. We know about the add-on to help us to know a little bit about the prices. And then comes the question, which items should I sell? And normally I divide this in 2 categories. Normally I call these 2 categories like fast selling and slow selling. The fast selling items are items like, for example, potions, for example, food, and all the materials that people need to build, like potions, to do furnitures and all this stuff. These are the types of things that sells fast, and we already know because everyone needs it. The other type that is slow selling are normally some furnitures, some motifs, some sets, the items that can give you a lot of money, but you will have to wait until someone appears and buy it. So guys, let me give you some examples of fast selling. You have sugar skulls. It's a very good food. A lot of people needs it, especially for PvP. You can even sell some potions like this essence of immovability. That's quite common. A lot of people need it too. About materials, for example, dragon blood is a very good option. Tempering alloy is a very good option too for blacksmithing. Jyggala axe, and you are seeing the prices too. In terms of runes, you can sell Kuta and Arcaju. They are very, very expensive stones. It's quite good, people will buy it. Normally, all the furnishing materials, they are good to sell. For example, all these ones you have here, especially heartwood, quite good. And wooden rune is quite good to sell too. And of course, for jewelry, you can sell colorium, platinum, it's quite good to sell too. And in case if you have, for example, for provisional arterial dust, it's quite expensive. This is the type of materials that is fast selling. Believe me, you will put it for selling and the next day someone got it. Guys, now in some examples of slow selling, for example, furnitures, tile pages, all of these type sets, all of these, they are very specific items and sometimes they are very expensive. For example, if I go here, for example, this item is saying 22k, but imagine if I put this for sale, maybe it will take me two weeks until I sell this item. So always have this in mind, and guys, should be you to decide which type of items you want to sell. And it's pretty much like this. If you want money fast, you go for fast selling. If you don't care too much, you want to sell stuff, but you are not in a hurry to get it, the money, so you can go on slow selling. So guys, now I'm going to show you how you should list your items the best way for fast selling and slow selling, doesn't matter. For example, in this town, my guild trader is here, for example, and let's imagine that I want to sell sugar skulls. I'm gonna search for sugar skulls inside my guild trader and no one is selling. What I normally do to be the one that the people are buying to is quite simple. I go to the other guild traders in this town and I search. I go to this one. Hello. And I search. No one is selling. I go to this one and I can see some prices. Okay? And I go to the other one and I will repeat this process to all the traders in the town to search for the sugar skull with the lower price, and then I can put my price. And normally, for example, imagine that the maximum they are selling sugar skulls is around 200 a piece, 200 an item. Okay, I'm gonna put like 190 because I don't want to disrupt the market, because if I put it too low I will disrupt the market, but I want my item to sell fast than the others. So I'm gonna lower my price, not like in a great amount, just like 10 gold difference, and the people will search inside the town and the people will buy your item. This is the quickest way to do it, guys. And of course, if you want to go crazy, you can check all the other main trade cities and all the prices of the item that you want to sell, and you can lower to the minimum of the minimums. So guys, now we are entering on my tips area of the video, because selling items is not just listing your items and then wait forever for them to get bought by someone. For example, I'm gonna give you some tips about this. For example, you listed an item that is fast selling and the next day or 2 days after no one bought it. That's a red flag. And what you should do, you should check, the process we did, you should check all the guild traders again inside your town, because normally this happens because someone saw your item and the value of your item and a little bit lower than what you are selling. And here you have two options. You retrieve your item and wait until someone buy all the other items that are lower price, or you can buy that items if they are very low, and then you can put your item and the other items that you bought selling to the price you want. So this is a continuation of the other tip. You should list your items on the weekends. You should start on Friday, and then you have to check the prices on Saturday and on Sunday. You have to do this process, like you go to the town, you check all the prices again of the items that you are selling, just to check if no one is selling lower than you. If you do this, believe me, people will buy your items. It's impossible. It's the most effective way to do things. So guys, the next tip is quite simple. Imagine that you are trying to sell sugar skulls, for example, in one of these crowded cities, like for example Eldon Root or Vivek, and the prices of the sugar skull are very low. And then you have your third city that is not in a crowded one. For example, could be like, for example, Stonefall, that only have 2 guild traders. You go there because normally when cities have like lower population and lower guild traders, the prices are higher. So when you are trying to sell items, be sure that you always have this backup where you can try to sell a little bit higher prices, okay? So guys, my next tip is what I call an investment. Imagine that you are checking prices in guild traders and you find an item that you know the price, but a lot of people are selling this item lower than the normal price, like lower than the normal price. What I normally advise here, if you have the possibility and the goal, you should buy this item. You should buy and you should wait until the prices get up again. For example, 2 months ago, I noticed that a lot of people were selling Columbine lower than the normal price of Columbine, and I decided I'm gonna buy a great amount of Columbine, so I have 7k in my craft bag, and I'm waiting for an opportunity to sell this for a lower price than the people are selling now. So why I call this an investment? Because sometimes you have to wait a bit. I have been doing this since almost the beginning of the game, and I have been earning crazy amounts of gold with this technique, but you have a risk, and sometimes the prices normally take some time to change, so you have to be aware of that. This is more like a gambling technique, but I wanted to show you this technique. For example, right now I have 7k Columbine waiting for higher prices for me to start selling this. I do this with other items. For example, Jyggala now it's very expensive. It's around 7k each piece of Jyggala, but the normal price like 5 months ago was around 5. So imagine that if you have bought a bunch of Jyggala, you could sell it and make a good amount of money. So this tip is for you that you already have some coins, some gold, and you want to do something with it. You can do this type of things. So guys, this was all my tips about guild trading. If you have any questions, write me on the comments. I would love to hear more techniques. Write me on the comments too. Maybe I can do one more video about this topic. I didn't make any video about a guide for farming because you have a lot of that inside of YouTube. I just decided to make this video because I didn't found any good video with this kind of techniques that you can apply in trading. Leave a like, subscribe the channel if you like the content. You can check my series of PvP, Night of the Hunt, where I hunt players inside of Imperial City. You can check my build videos, and I see you in the next one.